And today I wanted to kind of wrap it all up with biofeedback. So, what is biofeedback? So, biofeedback is going to be things like the stress you have in your life and how that plays a part in your mental health and your mental headspace and your outlook. It's going to be things like how you're feeling about your strength and endurance. It's going to be your appetite, your digestion, your hunger signals, how you're sleeping, things like that. So basically, all the things around what are going to make your weight loss journey successful, other than the physical workouts and nutrition. So these things are honestly just as important as keeping your workouts and nutrition in line, because before we even talk about going into a diet, you want to make sure that your stress isn't a 10 out of 10 and you're only sleeping 2 hours a night and you're constantly bloated and you feel like crap. Your endurance is out the window. So before we even start talking about going into a dieting phase, we want to make sure that your biofeedback is in a good place. So you're not feeling like you're constantly bloated and that you're having digestional issues, constipation, diarrhea, just GI upset things. Want to make sure that your stress is in a good place and that you're having more eustress than the bad type of stress in your life, because a little bit is good, right? It keeps us motivated, keeps us going, keeps us driven, but making sure that that's not, way out of bounds. Making sure that, you're getting enough sleep at night and putting in the, having a nightly routine that really gets you in the mode of going into sleep. That's something I struggled with a lot. So getting that in the right place was super important for me personally. Making sure that your headspace and your mental outlook is a positive one, and you're not just having a bad attitude and going into everything with a bad attitude. So all of that's going to be really important, like I said, to have in line before we even go into a dieting period and putting that extra stress on your body. Because remember, as much as we like to think that working out is an outlet to let out our stress, it's still physically putting stress on our bodies. So it is a stressor. Even if it's a eustress, it's still putting extra stress on our body. Going into a dieting phase is also going to put extra stress on our body. So making sure that we're at a good point with all of that before we start adding these things in. So kind of backing up, I know a lot of people come to me and their original goal is like, yes, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to lose 80 pounds, or I want to lose, this amount of weight, which is awesome to have a goal in mind. But we just need to know that more important than reaching that number is reaching a point of being overall just healthy in general. Having good, lab results, having your hormones in a good place. So things like that. And that's not always like this sexy process, right? You always see these side-by-side photos of like, yep, here I was like this large person and now I'm here, I'm skinny, I'm so much happier. All you see is that this is number one, this is like number two or whatever. But you don't see everything that goes into that, right? You don't see how this person maybe struggled with, hormonal issues for a really long time before they got that in order to go into a dieting phase. Or you didn't see, them having to reverse diet at first. Maybe they were eating like not very many calories right off the bat. So you didn't see them going through that reverse phase, getting their calories up, eating more and more to get to a point where they could safely diet. So it's not always this sexy process of, yep, I'm just going to hire a coach. I'm just going to get in there, eat less, work out, and hit my goals. Sometimes it's a lot, and not even sometimes, most of the time, it's more of a process than that. So that's where having a coach to kind of guide you through that is very important. Because especially if, you're already eating truthfully, like, 1,100 calories a day, to get into that dieting phase of, I don't know, if you're going into an intense diet and dropping 500 calories a day, dieting on 600 calories a day is absolutely ridiculous, right? I would never do that to any of my clients. So getting up to a point where, you're eating enough in order that, you can cut back calories. Getting to that point, sometimes you don't see that process, but a lot of people do have to go through that before they can start dieting to make sure that this process is healthy and that it's sustainable. Because if you just go cutting your calories down to 600 calories a day, I don't know why I'm using that as an example. I guess it's just dramatic. But maybe you can do that for a week or two, maybe. But one, you're going to feel like absolute shiz. You're going to have zero energy. You're just going to be a ball of crazy hormones. Your body's just going to freak out and not know what to do. And that's where your metabolism starts to kind of adapt to that, so that when you do start adding calories then, and you go back to how you were doing it pre-diet, then that's when you add back all that weight you lost and more. So safely adding your calories back up little by little. And I'm kind of getting on a tangent into nutrition, but it does play a part in, headspace and your mindset. Slowly adding calories back up so you get your metabolism to that good level before you go into it. That's what most people are probably going to have to do. So like I said, would you rather lose weight really fast, or would you rather make it last? So if you, eventually get to your goal, your weight loss goal, are you going to be like, dang, I'm here, but I'm kind of pissed because I wanted to do this in 6 months and it took me a year? Or are you going to be like, hell yeah, I feel great, I got to my goal, and I feel like this is something that I can sustain? So do you want it to be fast, or do you want it to last? So that's kind of something you need to think about there, and having a good mindset around that. We definitely need to make sure that our biofeedback in general is in a good place before we go into any extra stress into a diet or anything. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today. Again, biofeedback things going to be things like the stress in your life, how you're feeling strength and endurance wise, a sleep routine and a nightly routine, how that's looking for you. Because if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to be recovered and you're not going to get the most out of your workouts that you're putting in. How your headspace is, how your mental outlook's doing, and then appetite, digestion, hunger, how that's feeling for you, hormonal imbalances, anything like that you would need to get checked out with a doctor, get lab work, things like that. So those are the things that we want to make sure is in a good place. Things that you might not think about, that someone like a professional or a coach could definitely guide you through and help you with, the mental headspace of maybe reversing dieting before you actually go into a diet, or getting your sleep and your nightly routine in the right place before you can start seeing success on the scale and things like that. So just some things to keep in mind: having your biofeedback in the right place,